Captain Pike is finally getting some. Hello and welcome to Voice of the Fat Mantis, and you're watching my review of Strange New Worlds Episode 6, Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach. This is an epic adventure, and I hate to say it, but you probably already know I'm going to love this episode, like I've loved all the episodes so far. I swear I'm not on the take. Paramount Plus ain't paying me nothing for these reviews. But before we get into the exact details about what I loved and what I didn't love about this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to Voice of the Fat Mantis, because I love you guys and I want to keep seeing you, and I want to keep this relationship going. But getting back into Star Trek, this is straight out of classic sci-fi. It's a story that has pseudo-relationship and romantic elements in it, which a lot of the captains of Star Trek have already faced off with. Very often, the moral of a lot of Star Trek stories are that the captain finds someone they're really compatible with. So, in Janeway's case, it was a hologram. In Picard's case, they were just old or weird or whatever. And in this case, well, she's a raging bitch. But you're with them, and then you realize you can't be with them because the duties of Starfleet, either there's ethical problems or there's some sort of philosophical reason that you can't get with the person you're feeling. And I dig that. I dig that very much. And I liked the way it was done here. We love Pike. He has great sex appeal. I want to see him with a really nice girl. And in this episode, he meets a beautiful redhead, or actually a girl he already knew from the past. And she is smitten by him. He is smitten by her, and magic is going to happen. Unfortunately, on her highly technological world, she is one of the guardians of the first servant, a child who is picked and becomes the savior of the people, a child who's going to ascend. Now, I'm not going to lie, halfway through this episode, I was like, what's this ascension stuff? I do not trust this ascension stuff. I think possibly ascension could be bad. And you know what? I wasn't wrong. I absolutely was not wrong. But even though these elements are predictable, I love the cast so much that they pull this off real well. Even though the B story had a lot to do with Uhura learning about security, it was interwovenly perfectly with Pike's A storyline, which I really appreciated. And I like that it was a team effort for them to find out that his new boo was lying to him. And I really like that kind of intervention scene where they're like, Captain, your chick is a psychopath who hurts children. Now, he wasn't sure how she hurt children. That wasn't exactly clear, and I think throughout the episode I was trying to figure it out too. At the end, it turns out that the Paradise City that or planet she lives on, they're on floating islands over a volcanic world where peace and love and harmony exists. It turns out that the quantum computing devices that they put inside the boy's head actually allow all their negative emotions and hatreds and basically their problems, whatever those are, to be projected into the child once he's hooked up to the supercomputer. He ascends basically to be forever tortured, or tortured for the few years of life he's gonna have left. And so the question is, are you willing to have paradise at the expense of just one child's life every couple of years? Now, of course, Pike is a man of virtue, and he will not put up with this at all. Now, this is a very loosely based off of an Ursula K. Le Guin. I like to call her Le Gun because it's more badass. Short story written in 1960, and I'm going to tell you all the best science fiction stories were written in the 60s and early 70s. Don't believe me? Check it out. Even if you see something new, it was probably based on something from back in that golden days of science fiction. It was when it was finally being taken seriously. Even the original series with Kirk and all of them, a lot of them were written by actually science fiction novelists. They were brought in to write similar episodes, and so they're at least basing these stories off of it, and I'm loving everything that's going on in this whole Trek verse. I've seen a common criticism of what's going on, and everybody says, why don't they just move planets? Why don't they just stop doing what they're doing? Why do they need that planet and that whole situation for this kid? Why can't they talk to other worlds? And what it is the kid is a metaphor. Look at that. Star Trek using metaphor to teach us things. It's a metaphor for whatever it does in your culture or your town or your personal life, where you look the other way at dark, evil stuff. A perfect example is coffee. I love K-Cups, man. They make my life Very easy. The problem is I drink at least 7 cups a day, which means I'm using 7 of these plastic little things every single day, which means I am a horrible polluter. Now, if we're real environmentalists, we want to save the earth, we should outlaw K-cups, just like we should outlaw petroleum. Or, sorry, we were getting into a dangerous political area right there. The point is that when you look at the alien cultures that they meet all the time in Star Trek, they're always a metaphor for us. And when we're looking at the torture of this one kid for the benefit of society, it's an example of how, even in a capitalist system, we allow people to suffer so they can lift us up, the pyramid, if you will, of capitalism. And so you have to ignore the suffering of people in third world countries so you can have your first world experience. It's horrible. I don't mean to lecture you guys, but that's kind of what Star Trek just did to us, and I'm fine with it. I love it when my science fiction lectures the shit out of me. Basically I want them to be like an angry high school teacher telling me I'm a jerk. And they're like, Mantis. You hear it and you're like, oh, brother. But that's what you want from science fiction. That's how we grow as people. Now, in terms of it, I gotta say, characters, love them all. I'm loving seeing Sam Kirk return. I love that character, and I want to see more of him. I know, obviously, we know that this is a prequel, and he's destined to die before his brother takes over the Enterprise. It's mentioned in that one single episode where Sam's corpse makes an appearance in a nightmare Kirk is having. So we know that's going to happen, but I hope it is later than sooner, and I hope we get more of him. Uhura continues to steal the show, and Ethan Peck's Spock is a sight to behold. I love all the characters. And of course, Captain Pike, the only man in the world who can pull off the white boy flip as well as he does. Look at that hair. How do I get it? Pike, what is your secret? Anson Mount, call me, bro. Fill me in. Oh, they're all doing amazingly. Now, I got to say, for future episodes, I believe that there are 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's actually 4 episodes remaining of this season. And before they go on hiatus, I'm really hoping to see a episode that focuses on Ortega, and I'm really hoping to see one that focuses on Hammer and his people. They're the 2 underrated heroes of this show, and I just need to see more of them. So Trek, if you could do that for me, I'd appreciate the hell out of it. But the real question, guys, is what did you think of this episode? What do you think of the season so far? Gotta say, I'm really enjoying this, and I never thought that I'd live in a world where the best show on TV is Trek. The worst show on TV is another sci-fi property owned by Disney. I can't believe I just said that. Anyway, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and keep tuning into Voice, the Fat Mantis, for more reviews, interviews, analysis, breakdowns, and all the nerd news that's fit to print. Until next time, ciao for now.